Today, we will share an article titled, A Lifetime of Busyness, What Truly Belongs to Us. Life is short, spanning just over 30,000 days. Eternity may seem far away, but when we look back, we realize we've already lived through more than half our lives. Reflecting on the years gone by, we've spent so much time being busy. So, in the end, what truly belongs to us? Nothing really belongs to us. The Buddha taught, all things are impermanent, what is born must perish. We come into this world empty-handed and leave it the same way. Whether we live carelessly or cautiously, whether we experience the sweet and bitter flavors of life, or whether we are busy or idle, in the end, nothing truly belongs to us. There is a classic story about a man who, after passing away, realized how brief his life had been. The Buddha appeared, holding a small box, and said, "Come, it's time to go." The man, startled, replied, "But I still have so many unfinished things to do." The Buddha answered, "Your time has run out." The man asked, "What is in that box?" The Buddha responded, "It contains something that belongs to you." The man pondered and asked about his possessions, memories, family, and even his soul, but the Buddha said none of these belonged to him. Finally, the Buddha opened the box, and it was completely empty. The man burst into tears, asking, "So I own nothing my entire life?" The Buddha replied, "Only the moments you lived truly belong to you. Everything else is impermanent. Life is a balance of gain and loss. Whatever we have will eventually slip away. Even family, children, or wealth do not truly belong to us. We are merely travelers passing through the journey of life. What truly belongs to you? In the Agama Sutra, it is said, a human life is as rare as a blind turtle finding a floating log in the vast ocean. Being born as a human is already a rare blessing, yet many fail to cherish their own bodies and squander their health in vain pursuits. There is a story of a miserly old man who spent half his life accumulating 30,000 gold coins. He bought land and property, preparing to enjoy the latter half of his life. But just as he was about to begin, death came knocking. The man pleaded, "Give me 2 more days, and I will give you 2,000 gold coins." Death refused. He begged for just 1 day in exchange for all his wealth. Again, death declined. In the end, he asked for a few moments to write a note. "I spent my entire life saving, but I couldn't buy a single extra hour to live. Cherish your health while you're alive, don't wait until it's gone to regret." Life often works this way, only when we lose something do we realize its true value. As one saying goes, chasing fame and fortune is futile. In the end, after a lifetime of worry, all we have left is a bed to lie on. So, what truly belongs to us? Only our health truly belongs to us. When health is lost, everything else we possess becomes meaningless. Living healthily is the greatest blessing. The Buddha taught, being born human, with all 6 senses intact, is the greatest fortune. One day, 3 elderly men visited an old house. One said, "I am health," the other 2 are wealth and success. The homeowner was allowed to invite only one of them into the house. The family debated. The wife chose wealth, the mother chose success, but the child wanted health. Finally, the family decided to invite health inside. Surprisingly, when health entered, wealth and success followed. The homeowner asked in astonishment, "Weren't we only allowed to choose one?" The one representing wealth smiled and replied, "We cannot exist without health. When health is invited, we naturally follow. Life is a one-way journey with no return ticket. Live healthily and cherish yourself because, beyond your own body, nothing truly belongs to you." Next, let's listen to the article titled, Your Words Are the Feng Shui of Your Life. The ancients used to say, "A kind word can warm 3 winters, while harsh words chill others for 6 months." Different words evoke different emotions in people. Kind words warm the heart, while malicious words leave others feeling cold. Those who know how to speak thoughtfully often choose kind and benevolent words, bringing a spring-like breeze to their listeners. Such people naturally attract good fortune into their lives. Your words are a clear reflection of your emotions. The English poet Ben Jonson once said, "Speech is the mirror of a person. Simply by hearing you speak, I can understand who you are." There is a story. Once, Li Hongzhang was inspecting work in a certain region. The owner of a local shop invited him to try a regional specialty, a sweet soup made with rice noodles and a sprinkle of toasted sesame seeds. After cooking, the sesame seeds were sprinkled on top of the soup. When the soup was served, Li Hongzhang picked up the bowl, preparing to taste it. Suddenly, he threw the bowl to the ground, leaving everyone stunned and confused. The shop owner was even more anxious when he saw the sesame seeds in the soup. He realized that Li Hongzhang had likely never eaten this dish before and mistook the sesame seeds for dirt. However, directly pointing this out might embarrass Li Hongzhang, while staying silent could lead others to believe the soup was unappetizing. Thinking quickly, the shop owner apologized and said, "My apologies, Mr. Li Hongzhang. I wasn't aware you don't like crushed sesame seeds sprinkled on your soup. If you'd prefer, I can prepare a bowl without sesame seeds for you." Hearing this, Li Hongzhang realized the sesame seeds were not dirt. Looking up at the shop owner, he thought to himself, "This person is truly intelligent." With just a few words, he clarified the situation and eased the tension. Li Hongzhang praised the shop owner. "Ignorance is not a crime. While I may not like crushed sesame seeds, your soup is indeed delicious. I will reward you for it." The shop owner used his wisdom to resolve a misunderstanding with just a few tactful words. Not only did he earn Li Hongzhang's favor, but he also protected himself from an awkward situation. This demonstrates high emotional intelligence. People with high emotional intelligence, regardless of their mood or the pressures they face, can maintain calm and balance, resolving issues with reason and composure. In contrast, those with low emotional intelligence are easily driven by emotions, speaking without thinking, which often reveals their weaknesses. Knowing how to use words wisely and speak tactfully not only resolves conflicts but also leaves room for peace and understanding. This is a hallmark of high emotional intelligence. Your words reflect your upbringing and cultural refinement. Speech is like a mirror, revealing a person's character. If the eyes are the windows to the soul, then your words showcase the depth of your cultivation. As the saying goes, you are what your words say you are. If you are cultured and well-mannered, your words will be polite and gentle. If you are rude and unrefined, your words will be blunt and harsh. If you are kind and considerate, your words will warm others, showing care and thoughtfulness. True refinement lies in speaking with kindness and respect, even to those who may not treat you well. Feng Shui begins with your words. We often think that Feng Shui determines a person's luck and destiny. Many people spend large sums of money trying to enhance their Feng Shui. But in reality, we don't need to search far. The Feng Shui of each person begins with their own words. Lin Zexu, a prominent historical figure of the Qing dynasty, is a prime example. Lin Zexu achieved great heights because he knew how to control his speech. In his youth, Lin Zexu grew up in poverty. His father was a poor scholar, and the family's livelihood depended entirely on his mother. Despite their hardships, neither parent ever complained or spoke bitterly. His father never lost his temper, and his mother was a gentle and understanding woman. Because of this, Lin Zexu grew up in a harmonious household, where arguments and conflicts were rare. Even in difficult times, his home was filled with laughter. Later, Lin Zexu applied the lessons he learned from his parents when raising his own children. He had a son who disliked studying, which disappointed him. However, instead of scolding or forcing his son, he allowed him to pursue a career in farming. Worried that his son might misuse his position for personal gain, Lin Zexu wrote him a letter, encouraging him to always act with restraint and caution in his words and actions. The son always remembered his father's advice, being cautious in both speech and action. Your destiny begins with your own words. If you want to change your fate, start by changing the way you communicate. Most of us are guilty of verbal misconduct. Harmful karma arises when we say words that hurt others or tell stories contrary to the truth. Beneficial karma comes when we speak kind words, meaningful rather than empty, or share heartwarming stories that comfort others. A misstep can be retraced, but once spoken, words can never be taken back. Think before you speak, pause to consider carefully. If you can do this, you'll create positive feng shui for your life. It takes a few years for a person to learn to speak, but a lifetime to learn when to remain silent. Lu Sun once wrote, "In silence, I feel my heart enriched. But when I speak, I feel utterly empty." Speaking is easy, but speaking wisely and gracefully is a difficult art not everyone can master. Silence provides a precious space for us to calmly analyze situations. Once you truly understand, you can empathize and be more forgiving. If everyone spoke a little less and listened a little more, this world would have fewer sorrows and more joys. There's an old saying, think 7 times before speaking. This doesn't mean advocating cunning words or empty flattery. It is a reminder. People must be cautious, thoughtful, and responsible with every word they utter, ensuring they are sincere, kind, and patient. This way, listeners will feel warmth, and speakers will preserve their dignity and moral standing. If one can achieve this, it is truly admirable. Next, let us explore the article. An ordinary person can become exceptionally wealthy by following this principle. On the path to success, laziness has no place. It requires immense effort and perseverance. Along this journey, we inevitably face hardships and challenges. When difficulties arise, avoid complaining. Sometimes, you have to accept losses and let go of certain things before finding another solution. Only through diligence and effort can you seize opportunities and good fortune. In Forbes' list of the wealthiest people, 18 of the top 40 are Jewish. They also own nearly half of the world's most famous companies, an incredible feat. So, what can ordinary people like us do to achieve wealth? The Jewish people have shared some insights on this. First, the boiling water mindset. A Jewish girl began her entrepreneurial journey but faced failure. Tearfully, she asked her father, "Aren't Jewish people known for their intelligence? Why is it that everything I do fails? Is it because I didn't inherit the IQ or excellent genes of our people? Am I destined for a lifetime of failure?" Her father said nothing but went to the kitchen and brought out some water, coffee beans, a carrot, and an egg. He boiled water in a pot and added the coffee beans, carrot, and egg. After a few minutes, the carrot and egg were cooked, and the coffee beans had dyed the water black, spreading a pleasant aroma. Turning off the stove, the father said, "No one's life is easy, just like this boiling water. Each of us must endure the heat of life." The carrot seemed strong but softened under heat, the egg's fragile shell protected its solid core. The coffee beans, though small, transformed the water entirely, infusing it with aroma and color. Life's difficulties and failures aren't inherently bad, they're a process of refining and shaping you. Instead of envying others, focus on transforming yourself and rising to new heights. Second, the selling the donkey mindset. A Jewish man bought a donkey from a farmer, but the donkey died the next day. When he asked for a refund, the farmer refused. Instead of arguing, the man devised a plan. He printed raffle tickets for 2 shekels each, promising that the winner would receive a donkey. He also offered a money-back guarantee to those dissatisfied with the prize. People eagerly bought tickets, unaware that the donkey was dead. Once all tickets were sold, the winner came to claim their prize but was disappointed and asked for a refund. The Jewish man refunded the winner and still managed to earn over 7 million shekels. This famous selling the donkey strategy teaches us, when facing difficulties, don't rush to complain. Sometimes, you must accept losses and find creative solutions. Diligence and adaptability create opportunities and luck. Third, the $1 mindset. The renowned oil tycoon Rockefeller, a Jew, once found himself caught in a sudden downpour while walking outside. Soaked, he sought shelter at a train station. A well-dressed elderly woman mistook him for a porter and called out, "Carry my luggage, and I'll pay you $1." At that time, $1 was significant money. Without hesitation, Rockefeller helped carry her luggage. When they encountered a station employee, the man respectfully greeted Rockefeller, revealing his identity. The elderly woman was shocked and apologized profusely, saying, "I didn't recognize you, Mr. Rockefeller. I even offered you $1 to carry my luggage." Rockefeller replied with humor, "Now you know, but I won't return that dollar because it's legitimate earnings from labor." Jews are often labeled as frugal. Americans call it thrift, or plainly, stinginess. Warren Buffett, for example, famously flies economy class and enjoys simple fast food. However, their stinginess is not reflected in their careers but in their personal lives. They eliminate unnecessary material desires and resist the temptations of consumerism. This disciplined quality is highly valued among Jews but is increasingly rare in today's society. Next, let's explore the article, "In life, gain comes with loss." In life, every gain comes with a corresponding loss. Love brings joy, but it also brings pain. Wealth enables us to enjoy a luxurious life, but it can also be the source of endless worries. Success makes us happy, but the pain of failure can be devastating. Joy and sorrow may come early for some, later for others. Some may lose things sooner, while others may lose them later. But overall, life is a zero-sum game. The amount of happiness you've experienced will eventually balance out with the amount of sadness you endure. In the end, everything evens out. Life is about both gaining and losing. Emma Watson became famous after starring in the Harry Potter series. The Little Witch from years ago has now become a role model for many women, admired for her beauty and intellect. Moreover, Emma has amassed enormous wealth, enough to live a comfortable life without needing to work again. But would you believe that Hermione herself once longed for a normal life like ours? Taking on the role of Hermione Granger at the age of 10, Emma Watson felt terrified by the overwhelming attention from strangers. In a recent interview with Porter magazine, Emma shared that she used to envy her peers who could lead normal teenage lives. At 26 years old, she admitted, "I constantly questioned who I was and felt sad about it, while many of my friends seemed to have a clear sense of their identities." Emma reflected, "I spent over half of my life pretending to be someone else, Hermione Granger, the smart and bubbly girl. During that time, my peers were dyeing their hair and discovering who they truly were in life." Life is full of unexpected events and unforeseen consequences. You can never predict what sacrifices your choices will require. That's why there's no need to envy anyone's life. Like us, they too have to give up something important to achieve what they have. Success always comes at a cost. A saying goes, "Behind every glorious success lies struggles and sacrifices you may not be able to endure." The chairman of the New Oriental Education Group, Yu Minhong, is admired for his fame and accomplishments. Yet, few people know the hardships he faced while building his career. To salvage a precarious situation, he once drank an excessively high alcohol drink with a business partner. This resulted in an emergency hospitalization where doctors remarked, "An average person wouldn't have survived drinking that much." At the hospital, Yu declared, "Shut down the school." But as soon as he recovered slightly, he resumed his mission to educate and inspire. It's often said, "The crown you wear comes with the weight it carries." Many admire others' lives without realizing the immense price they've paid and the pressures they endure behind the scenes. Happiness has different meanings for everyone. It's intangible, and each person defines it in their way. Happiness isn't elusive, it can come naturally from simple things. Ultimately, your sense of happiness largely depends on your mindset. You can create happiness by being content with what you have, or it can come from the thoughtful actions of others. The writer Zhang Jiejie, a talented graduate of Nanjing University and a filmmaker mentored by director Wong Kar-wai, has influenced many young readers with his novels. Yet, during the peak of his career, he admitted he wasn't happy. Instead, he felt depressed and trapped. Success came so suddenly that it pushed him into depression. Reflecting on that time, he said, "I tried to spend all the money I had, but I always felt empty." Sometimes, wealth and fame simply cannot buy happiness. In truth, even if we had the whole world, we would still only eat 3 meals a day and sleep on one bed. Even if you own 100 beds, you can only sleep on one at a time. Even if you have thousands of pairs of shoes, you can only wear one pair at a time. Even if you order hundreds of dishes, you can only eat enough to fill your stomach. Those who gain early may lose early, those who gain late will lose late, and those who have nothing will lose nothing. The total remains constant. So, in this life, there's no need to overcalculate. Don't fret too much over things. Simply live with joy, experience life to the fullest, and strive to leave no regrets. Next, let's dive into the story titled, At Least Once in Life, Be a Fool. A friend of mine introduced me to a book about the 20-year journey of a Japanese man named Kimura, who persevered in growing apples. Of course, this isn't an agricultural manual, rather, it's a book of inspiration, one that has moved many readers to tears, including me. The book's title is At Least Once in Life, Be a Fool. Kimura was an ordinary Japanese farmer. After getting married, his wife developed an allergy to pesticides, leading him to stumble upon a book on natural farming methods. He then made up his mind to grow apples without using chemical fertilizers or pesticides. In modern agriculture, which heavily relies on pesticides, Kimura's approach went completely against the grain. This endeavor was disastrous for the apple trees. Kimura's orchard was no exception. From the beginning of his experiment, his only field was mortgaged, and debt piled up. He had to move to the city to find other jobs. His daughter once wrote in her school essay, "My dad is a farmer, but I've never tasted fruit grown from our trees." When he was about to give up, his daughter encouraged him, "Dad, you have to keep going. Otherwise, everything we've done so far would have been for nothing." 20 years later, Kimura's apples became the most extraordinary in the world. When cut in half and left exposed to the air for 2 years, his apples don't rot, they merely dry out while retaining their flavor. Experts were astounded, and the head chef of a Tokyo restaurant remarked that if handled well, Kimura's apples could last a year while still tasting delicious. Kimura dedicated his entire life to growing apples. What seemed like a single instance of foolishness turned out to be a lifetime commitment. Without pesticides, chemical fertilizers, or weed killers, growing apples seemed entirely unrealistic. Even more foolish was the way Kimura treated his apples as if they were his children, often talking to them. He once said, "I live by growing apples. I'm in such dire straits because I've made the apples suffer. I've mistreated them." He would gently stroke his trees and say, "I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. It's okay if you don't bloom, it's okay if you don't bear fruit, but please don't die." Even when his trees bore no fruit, Kimura blamed himself. Every year, he apologized to the trees countless times. At the same time, he encouraged them, saying, "You're amazing, I know you've tried so hard." When the first tree finally bloomed, Kimura was so overjoyed he shed tears. He brought a bottle of sake to the orchard, pouring some onto the soil as an offering of gratitude. After his success, faced with endless praise, Kimura joked, "Maybe I was so foolish that even the trees couldn't bear it, so they decided to bear fruit." What was Kimura's secret to growing apples? I believe it was treating the trees as living beings and nurturing them accordingly. Kimura held the belief that the apple was the protagonist, while he was merely there to help it grow. No matter how hard people try, they cannot rely solely on themselves to make apples bloom and bear fruit. Therefore, if one uses various artificial means like weeding, fertilizing, and spraying chemicals, while it might yield results, the fruit produced would not be natural. This is similar to modern education, where parents and teachers do everything possible to create the best learning environment for children, akin to weeding and fertilizing an apple tree. A normal apple tree's roots typically reach 2 to 3 meters deep, but Kimura's trees developed roots up to 20 meters deep. These deep roots created a strong connection between the fruit and the tree. During storms, while other farmers' apples fell, Kimura's apples remained firmly on the branches. During the years when his trees bore no fruit, Kimura and his family often spent their days catching insects in the orchard. Despite catching thousands daily, the number of insects didn't seem to decrease. One day, Kimura suddenly realized an important truth: the apple trees also want to survive. Only by allowing the trees to grow stronger on their own could they resist insect infestations. Kimura's orchard became a vibrant ecosystem, home to a variety of insects, microorganisms, worms, leeches, butterflies, and birds. Besides the soybeans he deliberately planted, the orchard resembled a natural botanical garden, teeming with wild plants. Kimura planted soybeans to enrich the soil with nitrogen and improve its microbial diversity. Apple trees cannot thrive without nature, just as humans cannot exist apart from society. Kimura once said, "Apple trees can't survive alone, and neither can people." If you isolate an individual from society, their education will lack vitality. That's why, despite becoming an expert in fruit cultivation, Kimura's orchard was not just about technique but also about emotion. Kimura poured immense emotion into his work. During the first 4 to 5 years, he stroked around 800 trees every day and talked to them. Even when the trees were in terrible condition, some so weak they could be pushed over with a gentle nudge, he persisted. Though people mocked him, he didn't care. Deep down, he felt guilty, as if he had pushed the trees into hardship. When Kimura touched the apple trees and spoke to them, he felt they, too, were trying to survive. In the end, the trees became full of vitality. Among nearly 80 apple trees in Kimura's orchard, those that survived thrived, while others withered. Kimura said, "Professionalism is a blend of heart and technique." Ultimately, Kimura achieved something no one else could: he created apples brimming with life and emotion. His story serves as a lesson in perseverance, dedication, and heartfelt commitment to one's work. Meaningful lesson: a lifetime of busyness, what truly belongs to us, emphasizes the importance of recognizing what truly matters in life. It teaches us that material possessions and worldly achievements are fleeting, while intangible treasures like love, relationships, and meaningful experiences have lasting value. The message encourages us to live intentionally, appreciate the present moment, and prioritize fulfillment over endless pursuits. It reminds us that the true riches of life lie not in what we accumulate but in the joy, connections, and purpose we create. Finally, it inspires us to focus on the enduring aspects of life that give depth and meaning to our lives.